Got it? Hey guys, Coach Collins here. Hope everybody's staying healthy and safe. I'm gonna go through a little bit of a chalk talk on our whiteboard about our Expos Bunt Defense. I went through this on the Zoom meeting last week with this 13-year-old. Some of it was new for the 13-year-olds. 14s, this should be more of a review. 12s, get to know this, and the older guys get to know it, or just review and understand what we're doing for our base bunt defenses. In club baseball, there's not a whole ton of bunting, but we'll look pretty foolish if we don't know how to defend it. Okay, so we're not going to have a whole ton of plays. It's not like your high school baseball program where you add a bunch of different plays off of it. We just showcase baseball. Guys are not looking to say, you occasionally will get guys bunting at the end of the games to win ball games, but in showcase baseball, you're showcasing your skills, and those skills are driving the ball, striking guys out, things of that sort. So, but we do need to be prepared. So let's go ahead. A lot of the verbiage that we use are the verbiage that we use in our local high school programs. I'm just going to give you kind of what we do. I'm going to first go through offensively. If we asked you to bunt late in the game to advance a runner from first base, okay, it's a tie ball game, 7th inning, 2-2 ball game, nobody out, we have a man on first. We want you to bunt the ball to get the man into scoring position. We want to bunt that ball to the first base side, okay? We do not want to bunt it to the person that was going to have zero responsibility and charge, which is going to come from the third baseman, charging in front of our face. Otherwise, that third baseman may pick up the ball and just throw out our lead runner. We didn't get our job done. Now, this doesn't take into account if we're trying to do bunt and run. I'm not talking about trick plays and bunting and running. I'm talking about just sacking a guy over. We want to just bunt the ball with a man on first down the first base side. That's us offensively. All right? Offensively, if it's same situation, 2-2 ball game in the 7th, man on second, we want to bunt them over to third base with less than to get to man on third with one out. We will bunt the ball to the third base side. Okay, we're trying to bunt the ball to the third base side because therefore the first baseman will not have responsibility to hold their position, can charge and take the ball away and take away that lead runner. So just remember, offensively, man on first, simple rules would be we want to advance the runner by bunting to the first base side. Okay, man on second, simple rules without getting it more complicated, we want to bunt the ball to the third base side. Okay, so now let's talk about how we defend this. We use our rules and we use just to designate. We could say crash, we could say charging or holding. So we like to use crash and read. Okay, those, and just really designating to the pitchers and designating to who has what responsibilities. So the responsibilities are the first baseman and third baseman. Our quarter players have to designate who's going to be the crash and read based on the bunt situation. Okay, and they have to communicate to the pitcher so the pitcher understands what their next role after they hold the runner tight and throw a strike, which side they're going to help out in defense. So what we call is crash and read. One of them, you're either a crash or read on the corners. Those are your only two those are your responsibilities. Once we designate who the crash and read is, our rules is the pitcher knows that they always are going to help out to the read side. So helping that pitcher out who has a lot of things going through their minds, trying to get batters out, okay? You help them out by designating and being verbal and telling them which side's the read side, based on the situation. Now next, just standard defense is our shortstop goes to second base. Our standard bunt defense responsibility is to cover the bag at second. Second baseman's got the hardest job. They're always the safety valve, or they can't be caught sleeping. They have to hustle over to get to either cover first base and take the throw, or be the safety valve for the first baseman getting back. So I'm going to start with that with just our rules before we go into anything else. I can just keep the shortstop and the second baseman in their positions because those are your base bunt defense. All right? And that's typically what we use in club baseball. Okay, so the rules are crash and read. Someone's got to be the crash and read. Opposite the crash will always be the read. So based upon who designates which, you communicate across the diamond with the corners. Therefore, you then help out the pitcher, who's always going to have the read side after they hold the runners tight and they throw and deliver a strike. Okay, so now let's put this into a situation, a scenario. If we put a runner on first with less than 2 outs and it's a bunt situation, our read is going to be the first baseman because he has to hold the runner on. So our read is holding the runner on, and then they will softly crash because they know that offensively that batter is trying to get the ball into that first baseman's hands, or at least down that first base side. So if the read is the first baseman, follow our rules, the crash is our third baseman. The third baseman's not holding any runners on. There's just a man on first. They're going to get up onto that grass, take that bunt away, and aggressively work from the line to from the foul line to the middle of the field, crashing and taking that bunt away. Okay? If it's bunted them hard enough or bunted them with the runner not getting a great jump, they could throw out the lead runner and it was a moot point. The bad baseball, the batter did not execute, didn't do their job. Okay, so they're to crash, taking away that bunt. Pitcher delivers the ball for a strike if they hold the runner, and the pitcher has the read side. Here, the read side is first base. So we just follow our rules. Okay, so our defense and our alignment would be, we would charge or crash. We say crash, we have to use the verbiage, crash, and we have to hold on for the read. So that's what a man on first. I'm going to go into a couple other scenarios in a second, but let's leave it just there, keep it simple. All right, man on first, bunt situation, third baseman's going to crash, first baseman's going to hold, and our pitcher delivers a strike and helps out the soft read side. Always, pitcher has the read side. Now, let's keep a man on first. Doesn't make a difference or not. Regardless, but we're going to put somebody on. Doesn't make a difference whether there's a man on first or there's not a man on first. We're going to put a person on second base. In this situation, the reason why it doesn't make a difference is we're not going to hold the trail runner anyway. We're not holding the runner on. So whether there's someone there or not, all it affects is whether it's a tag play at a base or whether it's a force out. Okay? At advanced base at second or third. So we don't care whether there's a man on first or not. We just care whether a man's on second. At this point, we need to designate who is the crash and read. So we can't crash the third baseman because if we started running and crashed the third baseman, this runner would just simply steal. So now the third baseman is our read side. We put our right foot forward with the right foot technique. They have to hold. They'll take 2 steps in front of the bag. Okay? This offensive player is trying to put it in this player's hands. All right? They know that, but they can't just vacate their position because the runner would steal their base. So they are the read. They have to hold and wait. They'll have some help. Well, before we even get to that, if they're the read, what does this make the first baseman? We're not going to hold the trail runner. They're our aggressive crash. Okay? Pitcher is going to hold the runner tight, deliver a strike, and we always help out the read side. We're always going to give underneath help. Second baseman cannot fall asleep, has to get over to first base if that's where we're going to throw the ball. All right? And we're covering all of our bases. The catcher, your responsibility is always to make a firm and early, concise suggestion, loud and concise. You see the field. You see the entire field. The position player, the other players, if the catcher does not aggressively come and get the ball out in front. If you can get the ball and you have a better angle and you move your feet through the ball. But you make a early determination of where you suggest where the ball goes. Every other position player on the field has to have that clock in their head of where they should be going with the ball based on the situation. So it's not, what the catcher says is not the end all. The position player knows whether I bobble the ball, do I don't have a grip, I might have to reset my feet and go over to first base. There's a lot of different situations that go on. So just to recap, we designate our crash and read. Man on first only. Our crash is going to be our third baseman. All right, man on second, whether it's man on second only or man on first and second, our crash is going to be the first baseman. So once you designate that, the opposite is the crash is always the read. Okay, you could designate the read side first, easy, that just as well. And the pitcher's always going to have that read side. I leave the shortstop and second baseman where they're at because it doesn't make a difference based on our standard bunt defense. We're not running wheels. We're not doing all these different things. In club baseball, we're typically not running wheels. Okay, we're showcasing our skills, but we have to defend. We have to defend, but be able to defend as a group the bunt plays. Okay, so I'm going to go back to man on first just for the rare occasion, just to put this out, because I had one of the 13-year-olds bring it up the other day and ask, well, what do I do with it? And he got the question, he got the answer right. He was very happy that the 13-year-old got the answer right. They asked about, well, what do I do? And we told them to make their suggestion, a firm suggestion, early and concise. But now let's say we go ahead and they steal on the player. It's a bunt and run. Or just the player goes ahead and gets a good jump. Or we get caught sleeping when a ball is bunted to our crash side on the third base side. What I'm getting at is this. If a ball, this player right here, first baseman, just a man on first, is going to be our read. This is going to be our crash. We crash and the bunter bunts the ball here, but not quite hard enough that we could throw out that lead runner. We can't get caught sleeping. If the runner's stealing, we know that we have to rotate and cover our bases. This third baseman is going to field the ball. Is it going to throw to second base or to first base based upon where the runner is, how good of a jump the runner got. the first baseman is going, and the pitcher is going to be helping out that read side. Okay, from here, this catcher sees this, either yells 2-2-2 or 1-1-1, but as they see one, he'll be able to see the runner and what type of jump. He can't get caught sleeping. This third baseman will throw the ball over to first base, but our catcher, no one's covering third base. So what's to prevent this runner to go all the way to third base on a bunt and run, or just a sloppy play where our players get caught sleeping? Yes, the shortstop could see this, anticipate it, and start running to third base. That's fine. But more than that having to happen, we could see that our catcher sees that the ball is bunted to our crash, but not hard enough that we could take the lead runner or there was a steal on. The catcher is going to loop, say, I have third, to alert the third baseman. The pitcher is going to loop back and cover home. So we don't need the shortstop to be in a foot race, and this ball gets thrown into the stands, and they score a run. So as soon as that ball goes down to the crash, we have to have that light go off in our head. Is it a trick play, or did the bunter just bunt the ball to the wrong side, and but it wasn't firm enough or it wasn't clean enough to get the lead runner. So this third baseman throws the ball over to first, has to hustle back, or our catcher is there as a safety valve telling him, I've got the bag, get out of my way, pitcher covers home plate. That's a little more confusing. It's harder to see on a whiteboard. We do this on the field, but that is a different play when people try to bunt and run, or sloppy baseball where they bunt the ball to the crash or the guy charging, but yet we fall asleep and don't hustle back to our base. So we need to be able to be prepared for that. So that's a different circumstance in standard, regular club baseball that we don't want to get caught not being able to defend it because we don't have a bunch of elaborate defensive bunt plays. We don't need them. Take what they give us in club baseball and get your out and record and get the next guy out. Okay? Work yourself out of jams. Club baseball is not the same in that regard. We're looking to showcase our skills, but we must defend it. Okay, so we're going to post this, and hopefully you guys have any questions. Hopefully for the 13s, this clears some of this up, seeing it now on a whiteboard as opposed to what I just spoke to you. But this is what we're using typically. Some of our coaches might designate as play 1 and play 2, but this is the base standard play baseball, club baseball, bunt defense. All right, guys, stay safe and healthy. Take care.